Evers College, and Kenneth Vecchio, a GOP strategist. Ken, first to you, there was a Republican argument, at least as of yesterday, that there's nothing wrong with the Special Olympics, it's just that it should be privately funded. So were the Republicans right yesterday, or were they right today when the president said, no, the government should give them funding?
Who wants to be heartless? But where does it start and where does it end? Are we going to have money spent on just a child's Olympics? How about a great-looking, muscular Italian guy's Olympics? I mean, where does it start and end? I don't want to be heartless, but I have to say this. The government interfering in ventures that should be privately held is always a disaster. The less government interference, the less government spends money on events that private funding could be spent on, the better. I think it'll be better for the event that the government's not involved, and I think it will be better for the taxpayers' pocketbooks. We don't need to spend money in that arena, and I think that it's unfair that other groups are left out in favor of one specific group. I'm about the equal protection clause. Wallace, everybody should be treated equally.
Sure.
So there's lots of groups that are left out there.
When I found out the topic that we were discussing today, I really was going to get you a sympathy card, because I figured, gee, really, are you really going to try to defend this process here? You know, it really seems like the Trump administration, with their major policy advisor, Cruella, sat around and said, well, what's a really mean thing we can do? They said, oh, well, we could take babies away from their mothers. Oh, we did that. Okay, so
no, the Democrats did that.
Okay, so
and the bill in New York.
What can we do next? Okay, so how about if we defund the Special Olympics? I said, yeah, and see what's important. I know that Donald Trump has now rescinded that, but they've been trying to do that 2 years in a row. But here's that's the shiny object that I keep talking about with the Trump administration is really good at. So we get distracted by that. There's a 12% cut in the Department of Education's budget that's being proposed, and we are living in the only so-called developed country that is actually reducing its spending on education at a time when everyone agrees that more and better education is what's important for the young people in this country of whatever background they may be or whatever category they may be, and we're missing that point. So, I mean, I know you're not really serious when you're saying that the Special Olympics should be privately funded.
But to Ken's point, the easiest thing for a politician to do is to spend government money on good causes, and everything is a good cause.
Well, not but they're not spending money on everything, first of all. And I would submit to you that the needs of so-called special needs individuals is something that really has been ignored for so long in this country. That is something, that's something that should be supported.
I got your point, but I have a proposal for you. Okay. The proposal is to take that money that's spent on the Special Olympics and put it into funding that will help children with not just special needs, but children that are suffering from ailments that are life-threatening. In other words, I'm totally opposed to any government funding for the opioid epidemic and for people who use heroin. Instead, put that money into people who suffer from Alzheimer's or from children with brain diseases. Well, that's where government money should go.
But there was all this money that was also given to the wealthiest people in America through the tax cuts. So we're going to talk about giving money now and where money should be given.
I'm tired of the wealth redistribution.
Okay, well, you may be tired of it, but it is something that's important to keeping a reasonable society going forward in the future. If you want to talk about just the now, then fine. You give all the money back to the rich people, right?
A reasonable society would donate from its own money, not have the government force,
Well, but here's the question.
Take the money and distribute it.
But do you then take this? Do you then take this to the idea? Well, there are other things that the government spends money on to try to keep society cohesive, including, say, transportation.
Or
so
public
should
education.
all roads and highways and water and sewer, should all of that be privatized?
I would love to see all of that privatized. I would love to get rid of every single regulatory agency, alphabet soup agency at the federal level. Every one of them.
But you would not want to live here if you did.
Everyone. No, I want to get rid of them all.
But you would not want to live here.
They're duplicated on the state level. So we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars a year to keep these bureaucratic red tape agencies open that stifle business, that cause American business to go overseas.
You really believe this?
Get rid of all of them.
The military. Should we always privatize the military?
Military is part of the constitutional dictates that we protect our borders.
But
the courts are too.
Ken, you're a lawyer. You're a lawyer. You do remember from law school something called the General Welfare Clause in the Constitution. So when you talk about the military,
vague, ambiguous clause, I remember.
Okay. You can call it vague and ambiguous if you want, but it's something that has sustained everything. Things like Social Security, Medicare, and of course. Did we mention public school education?
There's lots of private
mandatory, free K-12 public school education.
Dedicated a big portion of her salary.
Please.
To the Special Olympics.
You're breaking my heart.
There's plenty of multi multi-billionaires. Joe Kennedy's the one that was going crazy about this. He's got more money than 1 billion people tied put together, and he can fund it himself.
Okay, if that's the way that this country is going to go forward, saying that the social needs of this country is going to be funded private. Yeah, it does sound bad because it is bad.
I know it sounds bad
Ken.
on the surface. No, it's not bad. It's good because the government should not be involved in
You cannot name one successful country that operates that way.
Switzerland is doing better, I think.
I think I could rattle off about 30 of them.
Okay, then give me one.
There's tons
Saudi
of countries.
Arabia, okay, you want to talk about it? Okay.
There's tons of countries that don't have
that don't tax their
social
citizens.
welfare,
that
redistribution of
you
wealth
consider to be
schemes, and
successful.
overregulation. How about New Zealand? New Zealand is a wonderful country that has very little regulation.
But they just outlawed guns. They just outlawed guns and said, look, you can't have automatic rifles.
Bad choice by New Zealand there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I thank you for proving my point, though. Appreciate it.
I don't know how that proves the point about the Special Olympics.
But wouldn't you rather have more money in your pocket, and you will decide what to do with this money if you believe in so many good causes?
Okay, because, and this is kind of like the societal contract that we have by being citizens in this country, which is that there's all kinds of services that we benefit from that we don't necessarily pay for directly. Okay, the wealthy people who are living in outside of Silicon Valley or on Park Avenue here, they benefit from a police force. Okay, they benefit from an educated police force. That education, most of the people in NYPD, they went to public school.
You're making a slippery slope argument, and there's some validity to what you're arguing, and there's some validity to the general welfare clause. However, at the end of the day, I can cut bright lines. I can cut bright line tests of where the Constitution provides where government should spend money, and then 99% of areas it doesn't.
Under your theory and under your system, and let's suppose we deregulate everything, shouldn't we therefore then on the backside of it say, okay, any company that say, I don't know, pumps pollution into the atmosphere, they should pay for that as opposed to getting it for free?
Absolutely they should. I agree with that 100%.
But that would have to be done pursuant to some kind of regulation now, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't.
Oh, they would just automatically happen?
Because you could have self-regulating. New Zealand, listen to me. You don't need the government to regulate. You can have the industry regulate it, and the marketplace and society will rally against those industries and those specific companies who violate the types of things that David just spoke about.
They're going to self-regulate. Like Boeing does, right?
The industry self-regulates
itself. Like Boeing did.
Yeah, other than punishing crimes.
Other than Boeing?
Called criminal laws. If they commit a criminal act.
How about the Sackler family and their
refute this example.
Self-regulating.
Refute this example that if they commit a crime, they commit a crime by dumping pollution.
Okay. Who judges that as a crime? Who judges that as a crime?
There's already criminal laws that govern these things.
Who enforces those laws?
I'm not against having police.
Okay, so
he's not an anarchist.
A cop is pollution police. Pollution police. I think that's called the EPA. That's called the EPA.
No, there's a difference between a criminal law violation and a civil law violation. What I'm saying is get rid of the conversation
all night, and someday we will. Ken Vecchio, Dr. Wallace Ford, good to have you both. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Before 2020 elections, we will have so much more of this.
Still ahead, despite all the controversy, President Trump is planning